Someone to Love on your first album featured Babyface,
Yeah,
which actually got nominated for a Grammy.
yeah,
How did that feel? Your first time out,
yeah.
nominated. I mean, you didn't win, unfortunately, but you got nominated
Well,
your
I
first
mean,
time out.
it's incredible. The whole thing was I went into the studio one day with him actually at his house. We were recording, and he had the song "Someone to Love." He played me the track, he played me the song. I loved it, and so, but he didn't have any lead vocals recorded on it. He basically just had like a little scratch vocal that had the lyrics to let me know how it went. But he's like, okay, so let's record it. So I went and I recorded the first verse, right? And he's like, okay, love it. Now I'm gonna do my part. So I said, okay, cool. So I can learn how to do the part, right? I'm thinking he's just laying the part so I can learn the melody. He's like, no, 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 I'm gonna sing the second verse. I was like a duet? He's like, yeah. Now think about it. This is the guy who I used to imitate his vocals for people in high school, like try to really sound as much of like him as possible. To impress girls, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, and one of the most influential vocalists, just like Marvin Gaye or Michael Jackson, he's up there, you know, for me.
Yeah.
So to get him at 19 or 20, whatever it was, to sing on my first record that I ever put out was very, very much. You couldn't tell me, I mean, you had to pinch me, you know what I mean? To let me know, like, okay, dude, this is happening. And yeah, I was very, very much in awe of the whole thing, let alone we got a Grammy nom, you know, for that. And, you know, the movie was in the Bad Boy soundtrack and all that. So right away, it was sort of like, okay, we're out to the races, you know?
Well, I mean, you guys sound kind of similar
I mean,
on that song.
It was evident, you know, on that song.
Yeah.
Definitely want to show that from the jump. This is the guy who is sort of like the foundation for what I do, you know.
Yeah.
In R&B, there's only so many pillars that are really holding up, you know, the foundation. It's like the foundation, you know. So I'm one of those guys who likes to go back and show my influence, because I didn't start off wanting to be an artist. I started off wanting to be a producer, and I use my vocals as a technique as a tool to kind of get my songs and my production to artists. So if I wrote a song for Luther Vandross, I sang the song, da, 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 you know, in a Luther vibe, and I can do Luther vibe. You know, I could do a Babyface vibe. I could do a Ralph Tresvant or a Johnny Gill, or, you know what I mean? Because I'm a big fan of R&B music. So it was interesting. People caught that glimpse of my influence with Babyface, and they instantaneously thought, that's the way his voice sounds on everything he sings, you know? And,
Right, which it isn't.
Which is not.
Yeah.
And so it took records like, you know, They Don't Know, which was very, very much, I think it still to this day is sort of like the song I think people best know me for, and you know, really, they come to the show and they sing that the loudest, you know what I mean? And that was a song I sort of like really spread my wings and got to shine in my own right, and stepped out of the shadow of Babyface.
Well, I mean, you mentioned that you were writing, you know, for a few people. You said Toni Braxton, Color Me Bad, but also Michael Jackson.
Well, I didn't write the song, but I had the pleasure of working with his voice in the studio, and getting to, we were managed by the same manager, Sandy Gallen and Jim Morey.
Who also managed Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it's pretty much as high as you can get.
Yeah, I was, you know, in the office a lot, and it'd be like, okay, oh, we got to cut this meeting short. Mike is on his way in, and I'm like, okay, no problem. Yeah. But you know, I mean, because of that, it was a cool opportunity for me to work with the song "You Are Not Alone" that R. Kelly wrote, but I had the opportunity to be the only person besides Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis to get to remix it. Well, I think Frankie Knuckles did a house mix, but I did the official remix for it, and it was really cool because, you know, I remember him calling the studio to check on me and just say, you know, I like the mix and thanks a lot, man, for doing this. And I was just like, incredible. Can't wait to shake your hand, meet you in person. And then, of course, I met him at the Brit Awards. Jim Morey brought me backstage, and I met Mike and got to shake his hand. And That was really cool. Yeah.
Dope. So the first album comes out, and I'm looking at the charts now. It got up to number 7 on the top 200 charts, number 4 on the R&B charts, and it goes platinum.
Yeah.
So you're platinum right out the gate, Grammy nomination. I mean, you're off to the races at this point.
Yeah.
So then it's out time for album number 2.
Yeah.
For Cool Relax.
Yeah.
And Babyface is still in the mix.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is where I like I was saying, I was more or less spreading my wings and really trying to step outside of the, being overshadowed by my influence of that Babyface had, on me. And I think that was sort of like something that began to spread a little bit faster than I wanted it to, in a way where all of a sudden now I wasn't my own artist. I felt very, very much like, okay, I've been working all this time to be a musician and a producer, not this sort of pseudo, replica artist. You know what I mean?
The white Babyface.
Yeah, exactly. The white Babyface. Exactly.
White face.
And exactly. I mean, right. You know what? Everyone who works with him, whether it be Tevin Campbell, Johnny Gill, Toni Braxton, Karen White, After 7, they all have the polishing of his style on their records. And when I got my chance to work with him, I wanted nothing but to do just the exact same thing. So when people hear that, they hear me doing, very, very much his realm, his vibe. But when they hear me do They Don't Know, and they hear all my other music, Are You Still Down with Tupac?
Yeah.
There was no denying that there was more to it than just that, and Cool Relax was sort of my way of being able to let people know everything else that came with me, all the other influence. Hip hop is a huge influence in my style, and that leads me into, the collaboration I had on the Cool Relax album with Tupac, which is,
I want to first talk about They Don't Know.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that was really the biggest song you ever put out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when you put it together, did you know right away that it was going to be a monster like that, or no?
Funny enough, when I turned that song in, it was looked at as sort of like, okay, this will be a cool song for the album. It wasn't at all like, oh man, we got to smash. And I thought it was absolutely my best song ever, I felt like it was saying a lot for me. Like everything we're talking about right now, about kind of wanting to be my own artist and not really wanting to be compared so much anymore, like, okay, cool, like I live that influence to the death, you know what I mean? I'll ride that to the death, but I am my own artist. And so this song kind of said that statement for me in another way, but at the same time it was also kind of like, all right, haters, back up, because I came, to tell you some truth right here, you know what I mean? So yeah, and it still kind of like works for me like that to this day. It really is sort of like an anthem that I still at this age, I'm looking at it like, man, this is really something I need to continue to tell myself,
I mean, a hell of a song.
Thank you.
Hell of a song. Like I was listening to your catalog, before we started today, and it was like, oh yeah, I remember this shit. This was this was all over the place when it came out.
Yeah.
And that was, I remember because I remember the Babyface collab before, but since I'm not really an R&B guy,
yeah,
it kind of came and went.
Yeah.
But that song just had like a staying power.
Man, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Well, it was produced by my man Tim Kelly and Bob Robinson, and I wrote it, and it came at a time where I was definitely going through some things relationship wise, where it fit, both for me relationship wise and also as a statement to sort of like everyone that I was creatively surrounded by, like, hey, don't listen to what people say, because at the end of the day, it's what's going on in my heart that no one knows about but the people that are closest to me. So yeah.